I think that should speak for itself. 2023's Trepang 2 is one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played, much less in recent years. It's an amazing homage to classics of the genre with a breakneck pace of more recent boomer shooters.
Your mom took me to that park through my shorts.
But if you ask me, its best quality is how it succeeds in creating not just a power fantasy, but the power fantasy. For the uninitiated and for the sake of the video, let's review exactly what it is we're going to be discussing today. I would define a power fantasy as a piece of media meant to give its audience an experience consisting of empowerment through a stand-in main character. In essence, it's a somewhat extreme form of escapism. From what I've personally seen, it's most common in anime and video games. I found that power fantasies, especially in games, all tend to exhibit three qualities to give the aforementioned experience. We're going to go one by one and explore how Trepang specifically creates its power fantasy. Sound fun? Well, it was either this or talking about my thoughts on Nightreign, so if you've been around this channel long enough, you already know which option I was going to choose. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to support me, but as always, thank you for watching. I believe the first element to crafting a successful power fantasy is that the story and characters have to treat the player character as if they're overpowered. This can either be done by having NPCs praise the character, speak in reference to their achievements, and or having the player accomplish incredible things. Take Half-Life for example. Half-Life 2 is my favorite game of all time, and you constantly hear about how Gordon Freeman's this ultimate badass who's going to be the one to save the world from the Combine.
With you here, Dr. Freeman, we can finally make some headway. Good idea, Dr. Freeman. Hey, everybody, follow Freeman! Gordon Freeman, you're here! Sometimes I dream about cheese.
However, he plays like your average shooter protagonist. Outside of the gravity gun and RPG, Gordon doesn't feel all that powerful to play as. Just hearing about your character's accomplishments doesn't warrant the label of a power fantasy. Because of this, you'd think the more obvious way to build a power fantasy is to have the story give you incredible set pieces to make you feel like a badass. This can obviously help, but take Shadow of the Colossus for instance. You're just a little guy in that game, and you take out these massive colossi, but no one would really consider that game a power fantasy. The gameplay itself doesn't make the player feel badass, but more on that later. Trepang avoids these pitfalls by balancing how characters treat the player, Subject 106, and by presenting regular set pieces that reinforce how powerful, incredible, and special you are. If you take a look at the end of mission dialogue, you might be able to open a donut shop with all the glazing 106 gets. Your allies applaud your success, which works because as opposed to just hearing about how awesome 106 is, you made 106 worth praising. Arguably more important though, is how the enemies treat 106. First, let's discuss our examples. In Half-Life 2, the Combine tend to either act explicitly confident in their abilities to deal with Gordon, or just in a generally neutral way. In Shadow of the Colossus, the Colossi tend to just treat you like a gnat up until it's too late. In Trepang, however...
Control, I've already dispatched a security team. No need to worry.
Trepang's enemies are great. In addition to some really exceptional AI, the voice work is seriously incredible. When you shoot or explode a goon, the devs made sure that you heard it. Their screams of fear and pain help make 106 out to be something to be horrified of. They really sell his impact in these firefights. It's not just your allies that are commending you, your enemies are as well. Indirectly, but they are. The last thing I want to applaud Trepang for in this regard is that it manages its in-universe challenges really well. The average merc won't warrant much thought, but every so often, you'll find some other superpowered being, or Mothman, because he's here for some reason. In these cases, you're pitted against something else unnatural, something else beyond the capabilities of a normal human. This gives 106 peers to keep the power dynamic fresh, but he always comes out on top, so you're never not feeling like a badass. With all that established, it's time we got onto the second element to crafting a power fantasy. We need the game to treat the player as an overpowered badass, but arguably most importantly, the gameplay has to make you feel like an overpowered badass. This might seem a bit obvious, but let's really take a moment to think about this, right? You can't just have a gun that deletes everything in the blink of an eye and call the game a power fantasy. Otherwise, Gary's mod will be running circles around the entire gaming industry. You've gotta have finesse, you've gotta have that sauce. You need vibes with your power fantasy. What better way to start our discussion with bringing a knife to a gunfight? The katana in this game is just... it's so good. The feeling of zipping around the arenas and dismembering any and every enemy in your way is just... it's just perfect. The fact that it only takes 1 or 2 good slices is the icing on the cake. But let's take a look at some of the other pieces of 106's arsenal. The Penetrator, other than a reference to Thursday Nights in New York, is a gun that is just... it's beautiful. It's simple. It shoots out steel rods that impale dickheads to the wall and one-shots just about everyone in the game. What pulls it all together for this one are the ragdolls. I feel like I'm playing Half-Life 2 again with its crossbow, but the sheer violence of the Penetrator really just brings it up a notch in my eyes. Next up, the minigun. Need I say more? Lastly, for 106's arsenal, I don't want to talk about a specific weapon per se. In my opinion, if you want to start edging towards a power fantasy in your first-person shooter, there's one surefire way to do so. Add dual wielding. There's just something special about seeing that animation of readying 2 guns, ready to dish out twice the firepower. It just adds so much flavor to the gameplay, so much personality, just so much oomph. There's nothing like mag dumping with your fully automatic rifles or blasting idiots away with your dual shotguns. What else can I say? Dual wielding is just fucking sick, dude. Now, if you'll remember the intro of the video, I implied that Trepang was John Wick meets Predator. While the John Wick comparison is easy enough to explain, you know, being a one-man army, I feel like it came across through the implementation of on-demand bullet time. Taking notes from f.e.a.r, 106 can slow down time to help manage how fast the combat is. Lining up staggers and headshots made me feel like John Wick, which is a pretty damn good thing for a power fantasy. When it comes to the Predator comparison, you've probably seen it in the B-roll at some point, but you can cloak yourself just like in those movies. There is nothing better than a grunt shooting at you, you cloak, and you slink around behind him, and he starts screaming and shitting himself, and then you just grab him from behind, break his neck. Oh, it's... I sound like a psychopath, but that shit is just so fun. But how exactly do they do that? By taking just cool shit from other media and letting the player do that. It's the same reason all of the interactivity with the environment is there. It's supposed to replicate the destruction in John Woo movies. It all serves to let the player feel as cool as possible when they're going guns blazing and killing everything that moves. It's all about feeling like a badass, and that's what Trepang just gets. It makes you feel badass, and that's probably the most important aspect of a power fantasy. I think this last aspect is far less important than the other two, but it's what really brings the whole package together. I believe for a gaming power fantasy, you need kick-ass music and top-of-the-line sound design. Modern Doom is famous for this. Take a look at Meat Hook, The Only Thing They Fear Is You, and the holy grail that is BFG Division. All of these songs serve the glorious purpose of getting you in the mood to rip and tear. How do they do that? Apart from being good-ass music that you can listen to in your free time, I believe the music sets the tone and pace for the combat. The faster the song is, I feel like you try and speed up your gameplay to match it. The faster you go, the more killing you do, the more badass you'll feel. You see the picture? Now, I'm not gonna try and claim that Trepang's soundtrack is better than Modern Doom's, because, I don't personally believe that. But when it comes to my favorite track, I think they get kinda goddamn close. As previously mentioned, I think that the sound design is also instrumental in making a power fantasy, pun not intended. All the guns just sound so beefy, so powerful, so meaty that I feel like I'm doing the sound designers a disservice if I don't crank up the volume and blast out my eardrums to the beautiful symphony of gunfire they orchestrated. Then, when I do just that, it makes the guns feel even stronger to wield. That's what I mean when I say that Trepang is the ultimate power fantasy. Every aspect of it is working towards the goal of making you feel as cool, badass, and empowered as it possibly can. There's somewhat of a stigma against power fantasies in other media, but I think games offer a really unique space to give otherwise shunned tropes a place to really breathe and be experimented with. Because, seriously, what's so wrong with wanting to escape to a world where you're in control? You're the ultimate protagonist. You're the can-do-no-wrong good guy. You're the guy. We're just average people, you and me. So, where's the harm in imagining we're something more? Thank you for watching this video to the end. As I mentioned in the intro, I was planning on making a Nightreign video, but my buddy Beelz ended up covering most of my grievances and praise in his video. I know I got a decent number of subs for my SoulsTuber era, so go check it out if you've got the time. At the end of the day, I just think that gushing about something I love is more fun than giving some nuanced take on something that I've got positive and negative feelings about. That all being said, thanks again for watching till the end, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.